Hi, Brian Miller here. I wanted to share with you an idea I've been working with that could relate to how we might search for UAPs or UFOs. And I think that we might want to look at borrowing an analogy from fly fishing to think about how we might strategically search for these things in our skies. And let me tell you what I'm thinking here, okay? If you know anything about fly fishing, then you know that when a fly fisher approaches a river, they have to sort of check out the situation and they look at the flow of the water. And sometimes the conditions are clear and sometimes they're cloudy and sometimes you can see things and sometimes you can't. You know, sometimes you might see little fish darting around. Sometimes you see nothing at all. But if you're with someone who's an experienced fly fisher, that person will be able to look at that river and look at the conditions and think, okay, I bet there might be a fish behind that rock, or those fallen logs might have a fish. And then the fly fisher knows how to cast in a certain way that looks attractive to the fish, that mimics what a fly would be like, or in some cases, what a nymph or some other kind of species would be under the surface, all right? And I think that we might want to consider looking at a search for UAPs or UFOs in exactly the same way. You know, I think that in order for us to really make scientific progress in this area, it's sooner or later we're going to have to look at the seas and the skies as our laboratories, and we're going to have a scientist-directed, citizen-involved effort to really get data. And as I talked about in my other video, I think we could use detection devices that capture data from outside of the optical band of the electromagnetic spectrum. We need scientists to design those things, but the technology is completely there. We just need time and money to get specific ones built and figure out a deployment strategy. And then, you know, when we're thinking about looking at these things, you know, I think that analogy could be helpful because when you know, it's kind of a mystery as to why so many people see these things, and there is some photographic data, but there isn't that just like really bold announcement or anything like that. And I addressed that in my previous video as to why I think that's just a reflection of a human bias. But maybe if our scientists started thinking of looking for these things as if they were fly fishing, and we started to realize that, you know, you might have to keep looking in a place over and over again. You might have to be patient. You know, you might have to just develop a methodology that is tied in with sensors that we could develop, that maybe if we take that approach, we might actually get some headway. And that maybe if we can develop some good devices and if we can take this patient approach, that slowly over time, we will kind of develop data that corroborates visual observations with hard proof from other parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. I see no reason why we can't do this.